Mike, thanks for joining Blue Notes. Most people thought you would be leaving ANZ in 2016. What's the thinking behind today's timing?
Look, when I first arrived at ANZ, I actually said I'd like to be here between 5 and 7 years. Actually, I've done 8, and the reason I did a bit longer was really to ease the chairman transition. So David is now, I think, really well settled into ANZ. And I think the timing's right. I mean, actually, if you think about it, it is the first day of 2016, so I'm, more or less there. I think the other thing that people probably tend not to realise is that an announcement of succession is actually a price-sensitive issue, and it has to be publicly disclosed. And therefore, you can't be exact. And if you look back at some of the statements I've made over the last year or so, I think it's fairly clear to say that was quite it was quite ambiguous actually. And if you look at it fairly carefully, it's open to interpretation. So, I think if you'd read the tea leaves, you'd have probably got it.
We were discussing earlier that 8 years has really flown by, and of course you arrived.
Well, it has for some people. For others, it's been a very long time.
Of course, the early days were fairly tough, 2007, 2018, into 2009, dealing with the global financial crisis. How do you compare the ANZ
that we had then
2007 to the ANZ
well,
we have today?
Fundamentally, it's a very, very different organisation. I mean, I think, we have so much to be proud of in terms of what we've done. The bank is now much stronger. It's driven by a values culture, which I'm very proud of. And we got onto that, I think, much earlier than other banks around the world. It's stronger in terms of capital, it's stronger in terms of liquidity, it's stronger in terms of credit quality and the quality of earnings. All of those things are incredibly important. But, I think perhaps what is most important is that the customer experience that we now deliver, I think, is better than ever. And, we've really turned the bank into a customer-centric organisation from a very product-centric organisation. And that change has not been an easy one, so it's not been without its issues and without its problems, but, I'm incredibly proud of what, all 53,000 staff have done. I think it's an exceptional effort. The other thing is, we were in the middle of, we came into a sort of a tsunami of problems in terms of the global financial crisis. And I think that my own experience is, this is about the 7th crisis I'd had to manage through, was incredibly important. I think helped enormously. And I think that the way that we positioned the whole Australian banking system at that time with a new government was also incredibly important. So, I think we tend to forget just what has been done since that time, and we're always looking forward, which is absolutely right. But we tend to, I think, at times forget just what has been achieved.
So we talk at ANZ about our strategy having 3 pillars: our core domestic markets, and in Australia and New Zealand and Asia. What do you think about how do you think about your legacy? Across those markets.
In terms of the super regional strategy, well, I think again one of the things that a lot of people miss, particularly the analysts and in the early stages particularly, was the fact that it wasn't just about Asia. It was about our core franchise of Australia, of New Zealand, and of Asia Pacific. And I don't think they understood that it's actually the connectivity between those businesses that really give you added value. You can't deal with customers in Asia and not have links into London and to New York and into Australia and the Pacific. And a true multinational needs that coverage. And I think that that's one of the things that we've really done well. But, if you think about the individual businesses, Australia has continued to build market share. It's continued to outperform its peers. It's done an extraordinarily good job. You look at New Zealand, we had 2 banks in New Zealand with 2 brands and 2 everything. We've now got 1 brand, a very strong brand, and again, we're building market share again there, and the business is really humming. And Asia Pacific, we had a few flagpoles around the place, a few outposts. We had a presence in Asia. Now we've got a real business. I mean, it is powerful. And if you think of our global markets business, for example, 56% of that business is now centered in Asia, which would have been impossible before. So I think the super regional strategy was for its time, in its time, and for tomorrow. I think it's a great strategy, and I think we've executed on it pretty well.
So let's talk a little bit about the future. You've strongly endorsed Shane as your successor in today's announcement. Well, what do you see as his key strengths?
Well, Shane, joined ANZ 6 years ago because he liked the strategy. He wanted to be part of the team that built that business. And building the super regional bank, has been very much at the heart of what he has done. Shane has been a great support to me over the last 6 years. We've worked very closely together. I get on very well with him, and I know he'll make a great CEO, and he'll continue on the journey.
So you've still got 3 more months in the hot seat. What are your priorities over that period?
Look, I think it's important that I help settle Shane down into some of the things that he'll need to do for the future. It gives us a good period to really make a seamless transition. We've still got a lot of things to do, and I want 2016 to start with a really good start. We're running a business, and I want it to hum, from day one for Shane. And certainly if I can give him a first good quarter to really bed it in.
So one of the other interesting things in today's announcement was that you'd be taking on an advisory role with ANZ into the future, really, I guess, with a particular focus on Asia. What is that going to entail?
Well, I think you could look at it as a sort of ambassadorial role. I have really very good government customer contacts up in Asia, and it would be a real shame for the bank to lose that. And I want to help in the future. I put eight years of my life into this organisation, and I don't want it just finish. I want to continue to help build its success, and everything I can do to help in Asia, I will.
Finally, I can't really see you pottering around the farm with a part-time role. What else have you got in mind for the future, Mike?
Well, I've got to sit back and think about that a little bit. I want to stay in Australia. Australia is my home, but I do feel I want to do possibly some national service or do something different. I feel I want to continue to grow, but I want to put something back. I want to, make a difference. So there are all sorts of ideas and opportunities, and I'll give my time a bit of, I'll give myself some thinking space.
Thanks for joining Blue Notes, Mike.
Great to see you.